Hey, I'm Duncan Robinson. I'm here today to talk to you about the art of shooting and how you can master the craft of becoming a better shooter. I get asked a lot about how to become better at shooting, what exactly is needed to perfect your craft. First and foremost, I'm a strong believer in that there's no substitute for repetitions. You have to find a stroke and form that's repeatable, and some of these concepts are things we're going to work on and talk about today. But first and foremost, it's finding a form that's repeatable and efficient. And what efficiency means for me is all about transferring energy of the ball, starting with your base, your feet, up through your body, and leading with the ball. I'm going to talk a lot today about ball before body, which is a kind of a not exactly talked about concept, but it's really important in developing fluidity of a jump shot. So a couple of points I'm going to reference is first and foremost position A, which is this locked wrist right here on the, if you're a righty, on your right hip, right off your right hip. Position 2 is going to be up through here, and then position 3 is the finish. So those are just points I'm going to reference as I go through some of this stuff. So when I reference position 1, position 2, position 3, you guys know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. So with that being said, one of the first things I'm going to do is basically, when I come in the gym, this is my shooting routine. Every single time I come in, outside of getting a warm up in, or I get my heart rate up a little bit, the first thing that I do is really just form shooting and starting to groove that jump shot. I'm not much of a golfer, but people talk all about grooving your swing. For me, it's the same concept with shooting. You want to groove your jump shot, get it to the point where it's repeatable and efficient. So that's what we're going to do here first. All right, so this first drill of form shooting is just going to be with one hand. So your guide hand can either be next to the ball. I prefer to just have it off to the side just to really encourage just that one hand, one motion. So actually for this first one, we're going to be skipping position 1 because we only have one hand. We can't get to position 1. But really, this is about positions 2 and 3 and finding fluidity through it. Something that's really important with position 2, we don't stop the ball at position 2. We move the ball through position 2. That's an important point that I think, a lot of times when you see guys with hitches in their jump shot or something that just doesn't look fluid, we're never stopping the ball. We're keeping the energy always moving up and out. That's another concept that you might hear me say a lot. Focus on shooting the ball up and out. So right now, just one hand. Like I said, we're not doing position 1, but really locking it in on positions 2 and 3. So you start right here, right around outside of the charge circle. Little wide base, bending the knees, and just shooting it up and out. Like I said, focusing on positions 2 and 3. You'll notice how the ball doesn't stop. Once I keep it going, it stays going the whole time until I finish with that hold. You can get, 3, 4, 5 makes right here. Take 2 steps back. Start working your way back. It's really important to feel your legs, that you have a good base. Good shooters always start with the legs and that we build energy from the legs. So shots in here, you might be able to shoot just with your upper body. But as we get moving further out, you're going to need your legs and all the energy that you can generate to get the ball to the rim. So same thing as we move back. I'm going to call it a little rim. It's all right, though. Just stay here. Once again, just notice how the ball is always staying moving. Ball never stops. And you can just keep working this all the way back. A lot of times, I'll work my way all the way back to 3, 4, 5 feet beyond the three-point line, all with one hand. Oh, there's the first miss. But it's the same idea. And as you move back, you'll feel that you need more and more legs. You don't need to jump for these. It's the same thing every single time. Ooh. This is really important because as we continue to move back, we're going to add variables. We're going to have the other hand on the ball. We're going to be moving. We're going to be running. But this is a jump shot in its most basic form. So this is what needs to be repeated every single time. So any variable that's thrown in, you have to be able to overcome that by knowing what it is that you're really getting down to with your jump shot. Oh, there's a miss. We'll go two more. One more make here. There it is. Two more steps back. As you move further away from the rim, you'll realize that the ball is picking up more speed and momentum, and I'm even activating my legs more and more because I need more power to get it up and out. Go two more steps, just for the sake of it. Short. Ow! All right. So after that first one, and you felt what it feels like to have that ball move up and through your body, we're going to come back and we're going to add the second hand. Now, one of the differences with adding your second hand is that a lot of people, will thumb their jump shot, will have their second hand involved. It's really, really important that that second hand is only a guide hand. It's not pushing the ball one way or another, but instead just making sure that it's squarely in your right hands. For my jump shot personally, when I feel like I'm missing and I'm not shooting a straight shot, what ends up happening a lot of the times is that my elbow of my left hand is actually out. So you hear a lot about keeping your right elbow or your shooting elbow in, but in reality, it's actually really important that you want your opposite elbow in as well, and that it has that other hand less involved. So now that we're working with the second hand, we're going to be starting everything from what I call position one. So position one is this locked and loaded wrist, this elbow on the side, and this left hand is just there to guide. Now it's the same motion. The ball is moving up and through. It's not stopping at position two. It's moving through position two, and we're finishing in position three. So now it's just the same concepts, the same drill that we just worked on with one hand, we're going to do with two. So start in position one, moves through position two, and finish in position three. So you start loaded with your legs. You don't want to be too bent, but you have your legs loaded and the ball loaded and your wrist loaded. And it's really important that the first thing to move out of position one is the ball. A lot of times you'll see guys when the body is going first and then the ball has to catch up. And that's when you get shots where people bring it over their head or they have to generate power in other ways. But really, if you're able to get the ball to move first and the body catches up, then it's just one motion and the body can actually propel the ball up and in. So we'll just slowly work back. Locked wrist, position one, up through position two, finish position three. Same thing every single time. Keep both elbows in, left elbow as well. You don't want this left elbow out because as you come up, that left hand is going to get involved if your left elbow is out. Same thing every time. Slowly work your way back. And this is all about just doing the same thing and repeating it, because that's really all shooting is it's finding a form that's comfortable for you, something that's efficient, and something that can be repeatable. It's minimizing variables and minimizing other forces. So if you're running hard one way, you always want to jump straight up. No matter how you're getting to your shot, it's the same thing. If you took a freeze frame of your shot, it should look the same every single time. Stay loaded with the wrist, loaded with the feet, up through position 2, finish at position 3. Oh, I got it. And those misses are okay. The back rim misses are okay. When you start running into problems is when you get misses left and right. Those are the ones we want to stay away from. And how we minimize those is we just work that right hand every single time, making sure the left hand isn't getting involved. It's like that. So this next drill is going to be taking those same concepts and moving them into a more game-like shot. So if we're talking about building a jump shot and equated to building a house, that first drill is basically the foundation. Everything that we're going to be doing is reliant on those same concepts and those same habits. So this drill is a lot of those same things, but it's just incorporating 2 different components. One is now we're moving a little bit, and 2, we're now dribbling the ball before shooting. But you'll see that we're still hitting all those same positions that we just talked about. So I call this one dribble hop shot, and it's all about creating connection in your shot sequence, in that you want the ball to come first, and then also making sure that you're moving through all 3 positions in the right order and at the right times. And another concept that I probably should have touched on when we were shooting in the beginning is particularly this roll up right here in the form shooting. It really helps keeping the ball close to your body, which is another thing that's really important. A lot of times you'll see guys get disconnected with the ball, and they'll have long arches of the ball in their shot. And when we remove the ball from the body, we lose a lot of the energy that we're creating from our feet. So another way to do that form shooting drill is to do it with a roll up, which is just start right here. Ball starts in the crease of your wrist, right on your thigh. You roll it up to position 1, make sure that wrist is locked, up and finish, just like that. Every time. So you can add another layer to that drill, to the form shooting, and throw in the roll up. Oh. And it's important to watch when I'm doing this. That's just encouraging that same sequence, that same motion, making sure the ball is moving through position 1, but also, which is really important, making sure the ball is staying really close to your body, and that it doesn't allow you to bring the ball out like this, which then results in bringing the ball back. And what we want is one motion up and out. So that roll up is a really good thing to incorporate. So now we're going to do that drill I was talking about, dribble hop shot. So a couple of things I want you to notice while I'm going through this is we always start with a push foot. So you start with a wide base, and to go somewhere, you're always starting. A lot of people say a negative step is a bad thing, but it's something that I'm a strong believer in. And then in order to go this way quickly and efficiently, the best way to do it is to actually step a small step back. So a negative step, push foot. And I want you to watch as I'm going, we're going dribble, ball and foot at the same time, hop, shot. So right here, we're gonna get it started, ball and foot at the same time, hop, shot. Now I want you to watch also that I'm incorporating that hip tap into this as well. So every single time that I shoot, the ball will come and touch position 1, which is really important to make sure that it's on that same trajectory every single time. So it's push foot, ball and foot at the same time, hip tap, up through 1, 2, and 3. And it really should look the exact same as the form shooting in still motion, but it's just incorporating other variables of moving and also dribbling. So this is obviously all working right, but notice how I'm getting that ball to position 1 every single time. And I'm just shooting off the elbow right now, but you can bring this all the way back so you're shooting threes as well. But really, this is less about getting like game reps. Those reps will come in as you get into your workout, but this is more about building the foundation of your shot to make sure that once you get to those game reps, you're doing all these same things every single time. So now we'll go the other way. It's the same thing. I know a lot of coaches teach you only pivot off 1 foot, but in reality, that's limiting yourself as a player. You should at least have the ability to pivot off both. So now we're gonna work left. It's the same thing. You're gonna negative step with the right, ball and foot, and you're gonna same hip tap on your right side if you're a righty shooter. You're not tapping this because we wanna hit that position 1 every single time. Another thing that's important to note and just continue to hammer home is that the ball is staying close to my body every single time. In here, that might not be that big of a deal, but as you move further and further, you're gonna need all the energy that you can generate. That's how you get those shots that just look effortless. If you watch guys like Steph Curry, one thing you'll see is that the ball is like connected to their body. It's just one motion up and out. They don't get disconnected. They keep the ball tight, up and out every time. So just continue to work this jump shot right here. Now, once again, truthfully, these aren't even shots I take in a game. I don't take mid-range 2s. I only shoot 3s pretty much and layups. But this is all about building these basics, these fundamentals that allow me to shoot deeper, further, in more compromised positions, running off screens, and that sort of thing. Oh, get in there. That's working off the dribble. Now we're gonna work those same concepts in a catch and shoot scenario. So in this case, you can do it by yourself. Obviously, it's great to have a rebounder, which I do. Appreciate your time. But in this case, we're just gonna roll the ball out. And once again, it's gonna be these same concepts that I've been trying to hammer home the whole time. One thing I really want you to notice when I'm doing these, we call these half spin turn shots, is my chest is always up. So another concept is chin up, chest up, particularly when you're moving and running. You always want your chin up, chest up. You don't want to be running with your chest parallel to the floor, but instead perpendicular. That way, as soon as you catch, it can be up and out. So on these, we're gonna roll the ball out. Same thing, we always move with a negative step. Roll the ball out, land on 2. With better balance than that, don't come up on your toes. And it's gonna be a quarter turn, shot right from there. This is all about working balance. It's really hard to make that turn if your chest isn't vertical. So this helps get home that concept of keeping your chin up, chest up, and also make sure that you're still working those hip taps. So negative step, hip tap. That was ugly. Be negative step, roll it out, hip tap, just like that. Can work home, reps working this way. Stepping with that left foot back. And then also get some turning the same way, stepping with your right foot back. Notice how I'm still hitting position 1 every time. I'm still moving the ball up through position 2, finishing with position 3 every single time. Keeping the ball close to my body. So this way is actually easier to turn for righties. The harder way to turn is the other way for righties. But it's important to note also, obviously we've talked a little bit about your base and having a solid base, but it's unrealistic to think that every single time your feet are going to be perfectly lined up. In fact, if I had a straightaway shot, a lot of times I don't line my feet up perfectly. I'll have a little bit of turn, but what is important is that your chest is lined up where it's supposed to be, and it's not square at the rim. A lot of people think it's square at the rim, but it's really hard to generate power when your chest is perfectly square. Instead, I have a little bit of a tilt. A lot of times I'll go with this 45 and I'll shoot it this way. It's kind of like throwing darts, and then it just allows your shoulder to have more range of motion and more power. But you know, it's important to get your feet to a comfortable position, but it's unrealistic to think that you're always going to be able to get to the right spots every single time. So now we're going to do the same drill. We're going to work it the other way. And once again, same concepts. And you can work these all the way out to 3. If you want, step with the other foot here. Go a little bit deeper. Ooh. Go one more make. And those are, first one was the roll-up drill. The second one was the dribble hop shot, working off the bounce. And that was the half spins, working on catch and shoots, making sure you're upright, good balance, and working through those positions every single time. So this next segment is going to take a lot of the fundamentals that we just worked on and really incorporating them into game shots. Moving full speed, running off of screens, you know, moving without the ball, shaking up out of a ball screen action, whatever it may be, you know, peeling off in transition to the top of the key. But it's really going to emphasize a full sprint start and then getting to that jump shot that we just worked on. And we've been working on grooving throughout this video. So I'm not going to reference those positions maybe as much, but it's important to recognize that we're still moving through them every single time we shoot. And I'm not going to be doing the taps like I did on the drills, but by this point, since you've been working through that, you know, you should realize that that's an important part of a jump shot, is to move the ball through these areas. So I'm going to talk a little bit about footwork in particular. We're going to get to getting open a little bit later, but this is once you've kind of freed yourself from the defense and you're coming to what should look like an open shot, or at least a somewhat open shot. So it's all about, you know, sprinting. We talked about you want to sprint with your chest up. You don't want to sprint with your chest to the floor, because as you catch, this is now you're twisting and pulling out of this, and it's going to be a lot harder to imitate that over and repeat it over and over again. So once you create your initial separation and you're running to your spot, for the sake of this drill, it's going to be the top of the key. I'm going to talk specifically about footwork. There's a big, you know, lifetime basketball debate around, should it be a 1-2 or should it be a hop into a shot? And the answer is you can really do both. In particular, myself, I've kind of created a combination of the two where I put them together. So what you'll notice with me is I have my last step, I call it a power step, is a big, long stride, almost as if you were about to jump as high as you can on a vertical test off of 2 feet. So when you're going to do that, your last step is always that big one, that big gather, just like that, into the 2. What I do on my shooting is I take that same step. I'm not overly athletic. My size helps me create space, but this also is a big competitive advantage for me because I feel like it combines speed with strength and power in creating separation. So just to kind of talk through that and kind of demonstrate it, what it's going to look like is you're going to spin the ball out to the top of the key, and I want you to really focus on that second to last step that I'm taking into my gather. So I call it a power step into the 2-footed gather. And this is kind of why I like to think it's a combination, because I'm really focusing on that 1, but I'm bringing it into that little hop 1-2. So we're going to work it to the top of the key. Oh, sorry. Almost forgot. Every single time we're going to start with that same negative step that we worked on earlier. So same thing. Gather, 1-2, every single time. Push. Gather, 1-2. You'll see that power step is long. I'm kind of working in limited space here, but it really helps you cover grounds, generate power, and speed. And I'm still, on my jump shot, is that this footwork is allowing me to get to a position where I can repeat my jump shot every single time. So my jump shot is always staying the same, keeping both my elbows in, moving the ball through 1, 2, and 3. Do a couple more reps, just so you can see it. And this footwork stays the same, whether I'm coming off a pin down in the corner, whether I'm coming off floppy action from underneath the basket, whether I'm coming off a handoff. This form is something I repeat pretty much every single time I shoot in a game. And on that first step, the power step, a small detail that I forgot to mention is it helps if you can work that step and start to turn. That way when you come into it, your shoulder stays in it. A lot of times when righties are moving this way, if this first foot doesn't do its job, this second foot can't come in and finish the shot. So if the first foot doesn't do its job, you end up like this. And this is a really hard shot to shoot for righties with this foot back. So watch this left foot do the work early to try to get that right shoulder into the shot. Go one more. Just like that. So now we're going to work the other way. This is a little bit more unorthodox from a footwork perspective for righties, but it's really the same concepts. That inside foot is leading with that long power step into that little hop. Same thing. So you're going to roll it out, negative step, same thing, roll it out. Make sure you get that inside turn with your right foot. And once again, we're just making this so our footwork does the job, so everything else can be repeatable and efficient.
And you should be able to get it to the point where no matter where you're coming from, elbow, underneath the basket, corner, that once you get to your shot, it's the same thing every single time. So now, we're gonna work those same concepts, but the defense does a good job of taking away that initial shot on the catch and shoot. So what we now need to do, what I call an escape dribble, something that I use a lot just because I know defenses are trying to take away, my ability to shoot threes. Now, some guys put the ball on the floor and go to the basket. My coaches encourage me to just find a way to shoot another three. So it's gonna be these same concepts, but instead of shooting that initial one off this curl, this one isn't open. So what you're gonna need to do is you're gonna need to find space using the dribble. Now I think about this instead of, just dribbling and going like that, I throw my dribble out to where I see the open space is. And then I eat up that space with my feet. So the initial shot is taken away, throw the ball out and chase after it. Now a lot of people complain that this might look like a travel. I get that a lot. The reality is as long as you remove yourself from the ball, it's not a travel. So you'll watch this first one, shot's taken away, throw it out and go get it, except make it. Same thing, negative step, power step into the first look, it's not there, throw it out, go get it. And a lot of times what I'll even do on this is I'll throw it out with my inside hand because I know the defense is trailing me. That's a little nuance that might be hard to pick up, but a lot of that just comes down to scouting reports, understanding how the defense is playing you, how they want to take your strengths away. Oh, I gotta make one. Not bad. It's important after you throw it out, you still find those same principles. I got a little bit lazy, which is why I started missing. But if I lock in to that same jump shot I've been working on building this whole time, the result should be at least close to the same every time. Now these same concepts that we've talked about, when you throw it out and chase it, you want to keep your chest vertical while you're chasing it even. I right there got lucky and I made it, but I have my chest over my toes a little bit, which is hard to keep balance. But what you want to do is keep that chest vertical and the result should be the same. We go one more this way. One more. All right, and then we'll do the same thing quickly, a couple reps, working back the other way of that initial shot being taken away, throwing it out and going to get it. Working this way for righties, the biggest thing is making sure you get that right foot around. And what's going to help you is getting that left foot in and working that right foot around. So those are incorporating the fundamentals that we started with of the ending result of your jump shot, its most basic form, position 1, 2, and 3, and incorporating them into a more game-like situation where you're moving You have the stretch of the defense, obviously. You're finding space, you're creating space. And even once you get to those spots, you're doing the very same things that we started on, which is working the ball up through, making sure that ball is moving first, the body is following, the ball is staying close to the body. You're hitting position 1, 2, finishing at 3. Remember, all 3 of those positions start with a solid base, your feet in the right place, eyes on the rim, and letting it fly. So after you've torched the defense a couple times using the form that we've talked about, you'll get more defensive attention. And that's really a privilege and more of a testament to the fact that you're an offensive threat. So right now I'm going to talk a little bit about freeing yourself up for shooting opportunities, particularly when the defense is trying to be extra physical and take away some of the actions that you've had success in scoring off of. So Anthony here is going to be playing defense, basically like a lock and trail situation. So the ball's at the top of the key. In this case, since I've made a couple, Anthony's going to be super physical, basically just locked into me. He's going to be, square, trying to bust through any sort of screen that's being made over here, making it difficult on us. So as an offensive player, the one thing you want to do is you want to make sure that Anthony isn't just dictating where I'm going. If he's controlling me as a defensive player, then offensively, we're not being enough of a threat and putting enough pressure on the defense. So one thing that you can always do is little hand fights in here, creating space, separation. But a big one is you want to walk Anthony to where he's trying to not let you get to. So if he's protecting the rim in this case and trying to push everything up the floor, as an offensive player, what you want to do is you want to get physical with him and walk him down. Now, this becomes your zone in that you've created all this extra space. Now he has decisions to make as we come off of this. You create an initial space by getting into his chest, and as you're coming off, he has decisions. If you've created that space, he has to decide if he's going to shoot the gap on the screen, chase. Hopefully you've created enough separation to where if he decides to chase, you can get to this daylight and shoot a 3. So the big concept is, as he gets more and more physical and works his chest into your shoulder, you want to do the same and work your way down. And it might be slow to start, but once you get to this point and he's physical, then it's a burst. And that's all the separation you need for that one. But a lot of times, once you create that initial separation, is he'll try to shoot the gap. And this is, of course, like team concepts, being connected with your screener, that as you create this space, he shoots it, rescreen, and Anthony's dead in the water, and that he's up the floor, and you're back here for the best percentage shot in basketball, which is a corner 3. So this one concept is when he's super physical up in this area, and you're working him down. The next one is, what a lot of teams will do, is they'll just go straight high side. So Anthony will say, I'm not letting Duncan come off a screen up the floor. It's not going to happen. He's going to have to go down this way. So in this case, what you do is you work down to the point where, at this point, if he's going to stay up the floor, it's just a layup. Just like that. So you put him in a compromising position in that as he's staying attached, you're working down the floor. At some point, he has to make a decision and change and swivel his feet, to which at that point, it's the same thing. Coming off for daylight, please go in. And we can work on all those concepts that we just talked about. So if he's high-siding, you might work him up, then work him down, might get that layup, changes. Oh, there it is. And you're running to daylight. Now, once you're in here, we'll break it down a little bit more in terms of how you can create this initial space. A great one is always stepping in between his legs, creating leverage with your shoulders. Another one is, which I do a lot, is just kind of playing dumb like the action isn't for you, and then it's just a quick burst. They might let up for a sec, and you're gone. The other one is the hand fights like we talked about. And an underrated one is a lot of times guys will get up in here, you go up, you look at the ref and complain, and then you're gone. That one actually works way more than you would think. He gets physical, hand in, you go up, and then you're gone. And that's all you need. So those are just little tricks of the trade that help with getting open. Another one is, if you want, you just kind of shock them, go one way, come off the other, and just create that initial separation. Because the importance about creating the initial separation is that he now has to make a decision. He's no longer in control, and that you've created the advantage, you've created the space, and now whatever he does is wrong. Whether he chases, you have daylight to shoot. Whether he tries to shoot the gap, he's up the floor and you're in the corner shooting an open three. So these are little tricks that you can incorporate really once you start getting more attention defensively to just free yourself in the midst of your offense's actions.
My first memory probably goes all the way back to just playing in the driveway with my dad and my brother. We had a little hoop out there and started out just shooting on a little hoop. And I just kind of loved it right from the beginning. Worked at it a lot, and just the passion and love for the game just continued to grow. The moment in my training that sticks out to me that I'll never forget was late in my high school career. I really wasn't all that good of a high school player, and after having a pretty disappointing junior year, I basically made a decision with my family that I was going to really commit to improving as a player. And I spent that entire summer. The previous summer I had worked a job as a line cook at a general store, and that next summer I just basically locked in on basketball and just wanted to really make it a priority. Just my life and everything I was doing just revolved around the game and how I could improve. My proudest moment, or moments I would say, is just being a part of winning teams. I've been really fortunate. I won a championship in high school. I went to the Final Four in my first college, Final Four in my second college, and made it to the NBA Finals in my second year as a pro. So I just love being around, successful programs and people, and I feel like I can bring something to any group, just the intangibles of what it takes to win. My goals have really been, short term, in that I really think that there's a lot of power in just really focusing on being successful where you are. I've always had the long goal of trying to play professional basketball, but in reality, that's not what's always been motivating me, but instead just trying to be my best version with whatever team I'm on and help getting on the floor and winning and impacting winning night in and night out. So I feel like it's important to have those long-term goals, but you got to set short-term ones just to keep your vision clear of what's in front of you and prioritizing the important things. Embrace the adversity, the struggles, and that I feel like if you can approach those moments with the right mindset, that those can really become springboards into success. And that a lot of times when things aren't going your way, there's a propensity to kind of get down and turn, and that's totally natural. And I've done that more times than I can count. But lean on the people that are close to you, lean on the people that believe in you, and just continue to push forward. Don't underestimate the power of just showing up and being present and putting your energy and effort into the task at hand. I think a common mistake, and this is really just kind of a generalization, is that I think people overestimate what can be done in a day or a week, but really underestimate what can be done in months and years worth of persistent and consistent work. Don't mistake activity for achievement, and that if you just show up and aren't really going hard or working on the right things, that's really getting you better. But instead, be real honest with yourself about what you need from a development standpoint, and put your time, energy, and effort into those things, and try to be as honest and realistic with yourself as possible, and also surround yourself with people that are going to give you real and unfiltered advice, and not just the cushy, comfy, what you want to hear. I think the most important components of shooting, and I referenced it a little bit throughout the day, is first of all, there's no substitute for repetitions. You've got to be willing to put in a lot of time. People think that great shooters are born. I think that great shooters are made. and that they work and hammer at their craft day in and day out. So that's first. The second one in terms of the actual form is finding something that's really comfortable and finding something that's repeatable. And that a huge key to shooting is being able to do the same thing over and over. It's the key to shooting is being able to do the same thing every single time and that it's repeatable. So I think if you combine something that's repeatable with consistency in your work, then anybody can become a great shooter.